You recognize that tune, and you know it's time for Relics Radio. This is a family-friendly show, so the entire family can join us as we talk metal detecting and relic hunting. You can call into the show at 270-495-0315 or join in the chat and post any comments or questions you might have, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. You're listening to Relics Radio of Southern Kentucky and Middle Tennessee. And it is October the 11th, 2018. The weather's changing. A hurricane has roared through the country. The midterm elections are heating up, and people with Relics Radio t-shirts are turning in bucket list finds left and right. But it's still Thursday. And so whatever you're doing, you stop it right now. Get yourself over here, because Relics Radio is going live. And I'm Digging with Seven. I am the host of Relics Radio.
And I'm Tennessee Jeff, the co-host. That was great. I love that.
What are you laughing about, son?
What, did that come in your dream last night or something?
That came in my dream last night. I thought, I'll just promo the show or open up the show with a little bit of different monologue and everything. I see the chat just flying over here tonight.
Oh, yeah, it's flying. Of course, Nick Hayes, he was the first one in. Ohio Relic Hunter, Larry Stevens, Finding America. We got Dennis in the house. Move on up, and we got Will, and then Ken Guthrie. And then that's about it right now. But, I'm sorry, Mike. Missouri Mike's in the house. So, I almost missed you. I don't know how I done that. How do you miss Mike? He needs
he's too short.
Wide pride. Yeah, that's it.
He's too short.
A wide pride T-shirt, but he's a little shorter. So
yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, and I talked to Jeff Ford earlier today, and him and Missouri Mike are out. They're out on a road trip and everything, so I guess that they're probably driving back in, and able to catch the show doing that. Mike is kind of the one that does all the commenting and all of that while Jeff is doing all of the driving. And hey, how about this weather?
Man, it's nice. I went out this morning and it was just like a brand new day. I mean, it was a brand new day, but it was just it was cool. I mean, yesterday was miserable. And then after that, rain went through and the hurricane went south of us. And then, I mean, it's cooled things off. We had that cold front come through. So.
And it's supposed to get down into the 40s tonight. That's what they're saying.
I know it. We were out earlier just walking around with Avery. And, of course, we all had jackets on. And, I mean, it's that time of year. So, buddy, we're ready to go.
I know it. Missouri Mike says 50 degrees there where they're at. And I'd say it is here because I stepped out on the porch, the back porch there before the show, and I tell you, boy, it's cooled off quite a bit. We can hunt in the fields now if they get everything off of them,
Yeah,
but I mean,
sure
you can
will.
stand out there. I hunted, let's see, what was it, Tuesday, with Mike Darnell from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, came up, and we went out and hunted, and we were out in the middle of a field. And I tell you what, we were scalding. We finally had to find us some woods to get into. And, there's places you want to hunt because you can find some stuff there, but you just cannot get out there and stay in the sun. It's just been too hot. But maybe those days are over with. Maybe we've turned the corner on the summer that would never end.
And you know what it's going to do? It's going to go straight from summer straight to winter. And then... So that's pretty much it. Goes from straight to summer, straight to fall, but now it's going straight from summer to winter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we didn't really have a spring. I mean, it was cold and then it got hot, and kind of an unusual July, though. We had a couple of weeks there, but that things were a little bit different. But we've got a good show tonight. Who we got as a guest tonight, Jeff?
We've got Zach. I cannot pronounce his last name.
Metzger.
Metzger.
Yeah.
Well, Zach. We'll just call him Zach. How about that?
Down south detecting. What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. How about you guys?
Just enjoying this fall weather finally coming in.
Sitting here thinking, well, how am I
while
going
you
to pronounce
can
his
because
name?
Do what?
Go ahead.
I said enjoy it while you can because it's getting cold out here at least. I mean, we're about to get snow actually on Sunday.
Where are you at? You are in Nebraska?
I am in Kansas City right now.
Kansas City. And y'all are going to get snow already.
Yeah, I don't know how much Kansas City in particular, but I know Nebraska, when I'll be driving back up there on Sunday, I know it's going to be snowing then. So,
wow.
That's just, to me, that's crazy early because growing up in Texas, I mean, we were lucky if it snowed once at all during the year.
Yeah.
And now it's like October and then it's just boom, winter.
Now, what part of Texas did you live in?
I lived in Flower Mound, Texas, and it's a suburb of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
Oh, okay. I was born and raised in Lubbock, Texas, and moved here in 1977. My dad was from here, and I always wanted to live in Kentucky, and I got an opportunity to come here, and so I did. And this is God's country, what I call it, and you couldn't give me Texas, make me move back, because out there in the panhandle of Texas.
Really?
Yeah, it's just, now, over around Dallas, you got a little bit of hills and trees and things, but in West Texas, it's just flat as a tabletop, and you can see for 100 miles.
Oh, yeah, it's the straight-up plains out there. That's the one region of Texas I've never been to, actually, is like the Amarillo, Lubbock area, but, yeah, I've heard a lot about it.
Well, it's all bad.
Everything is heard about it.
Yeah, everything is bad. You do a lot of door knocking, don't you, Zach?
Yep, mostly that's what I do.
Yeah. And a lot of people are interested in that, and that's something that it's not mine and Jeff's forte, so we thought we'd maybe open up the show just for you to give us some door knocking tips.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just start with how I kind of got into door knocking. Growing up, like when I first started in the Dallas area, the way the towns are platted out there, they don't really have many old parks. And really the big cities like Dallas that do have old parks, they're all like hunted out because there's so many people that hunt out there. You got the Garrett plant out there. And so it's really popular out there. And so I realized really quickly that if I want to be able to find stuff, I'm going to have to go start door knocking. And for me, at first, it was just a matter of getting the courage to do it. Because I remember the first time I knocked on a door, I was like shaking. I was like so nervous. I was like, man, someone's about to open the door. I don't know who they are. And I'm about to like ask them to search their yard with a metal detector. Like, I don't know. It was kind of intimidating at first. But now that I've been doing it for several years, I've really gotten better at it. And I've kind of gotten a routine down of what I say, and I've gotten more comfortable. And that's good because homeowners, they really want to see that you're comfortable and not just like coming up to the door and you seem like, you're a little like sketchy or you don't know what you're really talking about. But basically what I say to them when they open the door is I'll introduce myself. I'll say, hey, my name is Zach Metzger. I'm from Seward, Nebraska, and I metal detect as a hobby. I look for like old coins, tokens, and things like that. And I've been searching some of the older house yards in this town, and I was wondering if I could have permission to search the front area of your yard and see if I could find anything. And so that's usually what I go with.
And are people pretty receptive to that?
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the person. I think I kind of get away with some of it that other people won't because I'm younger. And I would say I get like 8 out of 10 for yeses. But it really just depends. There's some towns I've gone to where people seem a little bit more rude. And then there's other towns I go to where everyone seems to just give me permission and they just have a nicer culture there.
Yeah, I was wondering, kind of the ratio of yeses and nos. And so you say if you knock 10 doors, then you're more than likely to get 8 yeses out of it.
Yeah, I'd say normally about 8 out of 10. Now, that could change. If I was door knocking in the city, that might go down significantly. But at least in these small towns out here, that's usually what I get.
Yeah. What about the difference in between Nebraska, Kansas, and Texas? Have you noticed a lot of difference in between getting permissions there?
Overall, I would actually say no. I think it really just goes town to town. There's one town I've detected in Texas for years called Sherman, Texas, and I mean, for the most part, the people are really friendly there. But then there's other towns I've gone to out there, like Denton, and there's some kind of crazy people there, and I've ran into a lot of problems there. But really, across the states, I really haven't. It really just goes town to town.
Yeah, I've got family in Denton. They are crazy there.
oh my gosh, dude! I've had the cops called on me there before door knocking. Like I found my first silver coin in Denton as well. But yeah, it's a crazy town.
Yeah,
I thought all your crazy relatives moved to Kentucky.
There's a lot of them here too. There's no doubt about that. But that's on Daddy's side. Now, on Mama's side are all the crazy ones down there. So we were an equal opportunity family, crazy on both sides. So I didn't have a chance.
I see we got Tim Henderson and Matt Howells in the house. I seen Jeff Ford. He popped in there for a second. And then, Matt, I was wanting to let y'all know, everybody in Virginia, be safe tonight. I just watched the Weather Channel, and it looked like some bad storms moving through. Of course, what was left of Hurricane Mike was going through that way, so y'all be safe.
And I don't know if Mark Hoover's listening or not. I know he's not in chat, but he's traveling through Virginia, driving back home tonight. So we hope that he has a safe trip as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Zach, whenever when you're door knocking or you get into a community, what do you look for in houses or yards? Are there tell signs that you've seen or noticed, and with your experience, that this is going to be a good house or this is not going to be a good house?
Well, definitely the biggest thing I look for is the originality of the yard, and the biggest way you can look for that is if it's obvious, if there's sod on top of the yard and you can just tell that they just laid it down. I usually try to avoid yards like that, or if there's like a lot of plantings and flowers and stuff like that. Like if the yard is really well manicured, it's a lot less likely that they're going to say yes. Not to say that if you see a yard like that you really want to do, to not just give it a shot and ask, but that I generally wouldn't go to those. I usually look first for the ones that maybe have a little bit more overgrown grass. You can tell it's more original. Original sidewalks too. I like that, especially the brick sidewalks. That's a big thing I look for. And as for the houses themselves, I really love looking for the big old Victorian houses. I know that that's what usually gets hunted out first, are the big ones. But I'm actually surprised at how much I've found at those bigger ones if you just go there, because a lot of people will just cherry pick them and they'll leave the lower tones, and you never know. Even if I'll still find a lot of silver even just digging the lower tones. So, yeah, that's what I usually look for.
Anything on foundations of the house? Is there a difference in them that you're looking for as well?
I definitely like seeing that stone foundation or brick foundation. Any house that is bigger and you can tell it was used out of more nicer materials, they had a lot more money back then. And so I really like looking for those ones, because a lot of the houses that just have the wood siding and stuff like that, not to say that you can't find stuff at those too, but usually the ones that you can tell were maybe the rich people back in the day, those are the ones I really like to look for. Maybe it's got like multiple chimneys or just stuff like that.
Yeah.
What about the street tear out? I've seen the video you just one of your latest videos. You done real well at the street tear out.
Yeah, that is ongoing right now. I'm actually hitting it like as this week has been going on. I've been trying to hit it more. So basically, this is in a town just the county north of where I go to college in Nebraska, and I didn't find out about it until about 2 weeks ago when Tony from 5280 Adventures, he's a digger in Colorado, he contacted me and he wanted to get together, and so we figured we'd meet in this town, and it was just a coincidence. I had no idea the street tower was going on, but me and him, we got up to that town, and we saw they're tearing up all of downtown, the square. They're doing like a whole just renovation of the sidewalks up against the buildings, the brick streets. And so we hit it that night, and we did amazing. I found a seated dime, 1887, lots of Indians, some B-nickels. And then I went back a couple days later, and I found a 1877 seated quarter. And unfortunately, I've missed most of the tear out because it's been going on over the past year. But they still have like a block and a half to go. So, I mean, we'll see what else comes out.
So it'd been going on for a year already?
Yeah. So I think I looked up the news for it, and it was like last year the city council approved to do an entire just like overhaul of downtown. And so they've torn up like everything. They already did in front of the 1877 bank, just so much of it. And there's another guy that I know, his channel is called Midwest Diggers. And I was talking to him, and he actually said that he's known of the tear out for the past year, and he's been hitting it. He said he's found a lot of goodies, but he's been saving the footage to post it when it's done. So I'm really excited to see his footage of it too.
Oh, I bet there's no telling what was found. I mean, just if it's been going on that long, and no longer than you've been doing it, you found some great finds.
I know. I've only been doing it for like 2 weeks. I already have found like a bucket lister and just all these other coins. And I mean, if he's been doing it the past year, I can't imagine what's come out. Part of the thing that's kind of hard too is I have to keep checking on it a lot, and it's about a half-hour drive, so it's not terrible, but if I don't go there every day, it's like I'll miss something else because they've been doing all the sidewalks up against the east side of the square. And I missed going there yesterday and Tuesday, and then I went there, yesterday and Tuesday, and then I went there Wednesday, and it turns out I missed a bunch of it, so it's kind of hard to keep up with, but.
And that's just history that's just been covered up. I mean, it's just been laying there, and whenever they peel off that, the road and everything, then you're going back 100, 150 years and just laying right on top of the ground, isn't it?
It's like a virtual time capsule. I mean, it's just crazy to think that people are walking over that whole time, and it's just there.
You know, we all talk about that, if especially around the square of an old town where most of the stores started, I mean, towns spread out and they get bigger and everything, but right around the square, that's the oldest part of any town. And if you could just tear
that's
out,
like the core of the history of like whenever the town was first founded. I mean, that's as old as stuff you can find. And especially out in Nebraska where most of the towns that were founded around the 1870s, that really opens up an early era of history for us out there. And so it's really exciting to find coins that are 1870s when you're that far west.
Well, and most likely they brought older stuff with them. So, I mean, you've got a chance of finding even like maybe 1700s coins.
Oh, yeah. Especially at some of the trail sites, like the Oregon Trail, there's stops along the way. And a lot of people will try to look for the stops in Nebraska. There's one guy I know that I think he was on Facebook. He found a 1770 something real at one of the trail stops, not too far from where I'm at. And so, that is just something else I'd really love to do is just find one of those.
Man, I heard. Of course, I mean, I'm sure it's true. Like they started going out the trail, and they would just get tired of carrying stuff, and they would just throw their silverware off to the side to get rid of the weight. Is that true?
Really? I've never heard that before, but I mean, I didn't know, but
I've heard like
really cool.
Different silver caches found like pots and cups and all this silver, like spoons, forks, and just, I mean, big caches of it where they've just thrown it off to the side because it was so far. I mean, they was running out of stuff to eat, and then they didn't want to carry that with them because it was adding more weight.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really impressive when you think about it, how far they were able to travel just over land like that. Because when you drive across the plains of Nebraska like that, I mean, it's vast. And the fact that they were able to do that with the technology that they have, to me, is just incredible.
I'm going to put the call-in number in and open up the phone lines because
I just put it in. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
270-495-0330. 888-885-8315. We've got a commercial break that we need to take, and then we'll be right back.
Hey, Seven, we's looking good in our new Redux Radio t-shirts.
Yeah, Ken and Mark Guthrie of detectorists.com done brung 'em to us.
Yep. And they makes other shirts, too.
Yeah, boy. Detectorists.com can handle tees for your club, hunt, or any other promotion folks may have.
They even got the Wide Pride shirts.
Yeah, them boys does the manatee crawl.
Yeah, scooting on their bellies.
That's what I said. The manatee crawl.
Looks like slugs eating jelly.
So whether you hunt horizontal or vertical, tell the folks where they need to go, TJ.
www.detectees.com.
Yeah,
It never gets
and I'll tell you
old,
this much. Yeah, I will tell you this much right now. Ken and Mark Guthrie from Detectees, they've got to step up their game, and they got to come out with some down south detecting T-shirts.
Yeah, that's right, TJ. They ought to make them, they say, the courthouse kid, because that boy, Zach, loves to hit them courthouses.
Let's get that done, boys.
I don't have to tell anybody, because all of you know the infamous Jeff Ford, Plugmaster himself, is on the line.
Surprise,
What's going on?
Surprise, surprise. Hey, Zach, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing good. We hit a town today, and I think you guys had hit there before us. They said a couple young men from Kansas City had hunted that yard. So that was.
Were you in Missouri?
Yes, we were in Missouri. We were fairly close to Kansas City area. So.
Oh man, now I kind of want to know where this is.
Don't worry about it. We only found 3 or 4 seated dimes and a couple barber quarters.
So what's left?
Yeah, exactly. Now, see, that's something you didn't talk on with him, Loy and Jeff, is, to us, Zach comes across as the courthouse kid. I don't know if you've watched a whole lot of his videos, but these guys, he and Kyle, are famous for hitting these just historic, beautiful courthouses and absolutely killing it. I mean, some of the stuff they pull out of there is just incredible.
That's kind of what my channel actually started to get known for, and what I kind of blew up off of was the courthouses. And I really didn't start hitting them until I got up to Kansas and Nebraska, and it's so isolated out in these regions that, I mean, you can actually find stuff at these courthouses. And, a lot of people ask me, how do you get onto courthouses? How do you do them? Really, the way I do it is it's public land. And so if I don't see a sign that says no metal detecting or no digging or anything like that, I go on and do it. And I always dig plugs, fill in the holes. And if anyone ever asks me to leave, I just respectfully leave. And I usually never have any problems, though. But, yeah, I found some great things at courthouses. I really like hunting courthouses more than door knocking. Actually, it's just I mostly do door knocking because that's what I, have options for most of the time. But I absolutely love hunting courthouses.
I never thought about that, but there's a lot of people I think would get arrested if they went into a courthouse and started detecting.
Well, that's what a lot of people would think, but I've actually gone to towns where I'll talk to the sheriff. The sheriff will come up to me and he'll say, like, what are you doing? And I'll just show him what I'm doing. I'll show him how I fill in my holes. He's like, awesome, like, keep going. That's what they've done in one of the towns I've been to. And so maybe it's just Nebraska, maybe it just depends that, if you're out east and you're doing courthouses, maybe they have a different attitude, but out here they seem to be pretty friendly overall about it.
Well, Loy, I've got something we need to do tomorrow.
Go to the courthouse?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, don't be looking.
And
go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, and honestly, Zach, I mean, actually, he kind of has it down to a science, and someone else who hits courthouses as well is Don, Deep Digger Duo Don. And they do good at that. But you got to have some common sense, and Zach will tell you that. You really don't want to go right in the middle of the day when everybody and their dog is in and out of the courthouse, because that's a pretty for sure way of going to have someone complain. And so after hours,
if you go during the week, you're kind of just asking for someone to come up and ask you to leave. Usually I go on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, or if you're going to go during the week, just go after hours. But yeah, that's definitely a way you would get asked to leave if you go during like work hours.
I don't think.
And well, I was going to say, whenever we went, we met with them up in Nebraska, and we met them at this courthouse where they had done, extremely well. And we had a lady that came up to me while I was digging this, and we had gone after hours as well. And she came up to me and just, told me that I don't think that the groundskeeper would appreciate me digging all these holes. And so I slapped her. And well, I'm kidding. I didn't slap her. But I got to wondering. I'm like, well, how would you know? He might be looking for something to do. He might want to fix my holes. But anyway, no, we showed her.
I was just going to say, that's the town that I had talked to the sheriff too, and he said it was just fine to do it in. And it seems like a lot of times I can hunt a courthouse by myself and I never have any problems. And then if I go on a trip or I bring a group of people to one, and then all of a sudden we get kicked off. And it's just like, dang, I had everyone that wanted to hit this spot, and then we end up getting kicked off, but we didn't get kicked off that one because the sheriff came and we told him, and he was just fine with it. But it just seems like when you're in a group, it attracts more people.
Yeah, the one where Jeff slapped the woman, they run you off of that one.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
I slapped the cop too.
And the crazy thing was, we were still finding stuff that night at that courthouse, and I've been pounding that one for over a year.
Yeah. That when that officer pulled up, it was kind of neat, and he was talking to Zach and Kyle and Brandon, and I walked up there and I looked at him and I told him, I said, go on your way. And he did, and left us alone. So it's just the way you approach them. It's Jedi mind tricks is basically how it works.
And
how tall are you, Jeff?
Yeah, 6'6".
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how tall I am anymore.
But he's intimidating whenever he walks up. There's no doubt about it.
Well, that woman wasn't intimidated. She was on me,
Yeah.
So, but no, she was nice. She was just concerned for their courthouse, and I just wanted to say, you know what? Get your dog to quit pooping on this courthouse lawn. And that would be better than this hole that I just fixed,
Yeah, you should have.
Did she really have a dog on the courthouse lawn?
No, she didn't, but there was people walking right by that had, and so that's what
because I never actually saw the lady. I was only there when the sheriff came, and then we talked to him, and he was fine with it, but.
Yeah, well, I assume she called. I mean, she was all up in arms on it, and I fixed my plug, and, thank the Lord that it was one of those perfect plugs, where you cut it, it opens up and all stays together. You retrieve your item and put it back down and you can't tell it was there. And, thankfully it was one of those. So, but, she was like, well, I guess that's okay. But, guaranteed she left and called. So,
yeah.
Anyway, hey guys, I'm going to let you go. I've got a call I got to take. So I'll listen to the show. You guys have a good evening.
Okay. Thanks for the call,
All right.
Plugmaster.
See you, Jeff.
See ya.
That's something that I'm in real tight with our county judge and judge executive and the sheriff, and worked for the sheriff for a while and stuff like that. So I could probably do that, but, it's a good idea that you mentioned there a while ago. You don't want to do it in peak business times because you're just kind of asking for trouble then, aren't you?
Yeah, then you're just asking to kind of be in people's way or, stuff like that. So I would usually go after hours. And a lot of times, the only time the sheriff would come up like that is if somebody made a call about me and they're just coming to talk to me, but they never come up on their own. They'll drive by me and they'll just keep going. And it's not until somebody wants to call on me that they end up actually approaching me.
Hey guys, we got another call in. 8970 are the last four numbers. Who we got?
Hey, this is Kyle. I'm Zach's friend. Excuse me, Zach's friend from Down South Detecting.
Hey, good to have you on, Kyle. You can tell us some stories,
How's it
can't
going,
you?
man?
Hey, well, just to expand on that cop incident with Plugmaster Ford and everything, that wasn't the first cop that has showed up to us at that courthouse. I think there's been like 2 others from a different trip as well that have come up to us. People have called us.
Yeah, that was the one where you found that thimble, and he came up, and we just showed him how we filled in our plug-in, and he was like, yeah, it's just fine. And then he just let us keep going.
Man, maybe we need to live in a town like that, Loy.
I'm gonna say something to our county judge executive, and just because I put a lot of stuff in the museum just across the road. In fact, if they took my displays down, they'd probably have to shut down the museum, and just tell them, anything that I find, I'll just walk it across the street there and put it in the museum, and I don't think they'd have a problem with it. I just never have tried it.
What are they going to say when we start tearing up the sidewalk, though?
Well, now that may be a different deal right there. I went down and hunted with Tim Henderson and Ron Reed down at Murfreesboro. And we hunted at a public place down there that they had permission. In fact, I think it was Mark Guthrie's permission. But it was a public facility and had a big yard in it and everything. And we were hunting it. And we were kind of all spread out, all 3 of us hunting in different places. And I seen a cop car pull up, and they were talking to Ron. And I thought, we may be in trouble here. But, I said, surely not. We got permission from somebody that is affiliated with this place. So everything ought to be all right. Well, they talked and talked and talked. And I finally just kind of worked my way on over there, give him a little moral support anyway, and let him know, that I had bail money if I needed it, And he introduced me to the policeman there, and the policeman said, well, there's a woman across the road, said she called us and said that there was people over here tearing up the yard in the place. And he said, I've looked, and he said, y'all got permission and you're not tearing anything up. So wanted to know what we were finding, and everything was fine. But, people just, people are nosy, ain't they?
They sure are. Go ahead,
Denton,
Zach.
Texas is like that.
Do what, Zach?
That's usually where the problem comes from, is the people that are nosy, because, I could do a courthouse all day and not have a problem, and then the only time someone comes up to me or a cop comes is because someone else called them, but not that they had a problem with it.
Right. The police, I'd say that they could care less. I was hunting a place that I had permission on, and I had hunted it I'd been hunting it off and on for 4 years, and the guy didn't notice my car, and I was there on maybe on a Thursday, and I seen him pull in the drive. He had to pass where I was at, and then evidently the next morning he pulled out, and I had come back to hunt some more, and he still seen the car there and didn't recognize it, and he thought maybe somebody had pulled in there and had a heart attack or something, and so he called the police, and the police pulled up there, and he was running my tag. Of course, he figured out who it was real quick. And I walked up on him and scared him to death. He didn't even know I was behind him. And he said, "Dadgum, you Loy," he said, "you scared me to death." And he said, "I don't know why he called in. Does he not know your car?" And I said, "I guess not." So, it's kind of funny stories. But how did
out at the bait farm, it was a guy on a four-wheeler pulled up. This was a couple of weeks ago. And he asked me what I was doing, and I was like, well, what are you doing? And then, of course, this property, I'm pretty much the landowners are my grandparents. And, it was like he asked me what I was doing. I was like, hold on a minute. What are you doing here? Come to find out, he didn't have permission to be on that place. So, sometimes you run into that.
Yeah, that's true, too. Hey, Zach, how did you and Cal get hooked up together, and how long have y'all been hunting together?
So I knew Kyle from when I was a freshman in high school. We were both in band together, and so I kind of knew him from that already, but we really became friends when we started working at Chick-fil-A together. We just so happened to get hired at around the same time. And so by that point, this was early 2015, late 2014, and I had just gotten into detecting then. And so I would come into Chick-fil-A, I'd be checking the cash registers, I'd be looking for old coins and stuff like that and silver, and I'd be telling all the other employees all about it. And so I started talking to Kyle about it, and that was kind of how he was able to get into it. And by this point, I had the MineLab E-Track, but I also had the extra Ace 250 metal detector. And so me and Kyle started hunting together, and I'd bring along the Ace 250, and we'd just go to local towns around where we lived and do some door knocking and stuff like that. So that's how we started. And so we've been hunting about 4 years together now.
How long have you been hunting yourself?
I started in the summer of 2014. Our family, well, really the first experience I had with a metal detector was when I was about like 8 or 9. My uncle ultimately got me into it. He lives in Springfield, Missouri. He used to be part of the 417 Relic Hunters. But when I was about like 8 or 9, he took me out one day with my brother, and we went to, I think it was Phelps Grove Park that we went to, and we looked for, me and my brother had like, I think we might have had the Ace 250, and we found a few wheat pennies. I think we might have found a Merc too. And then my uncle, I remember, I think he found some mini balls that day. But that was really my first experience with a metal detector. Then fast forward to the summer of 2014, and my family and I are taking a vacation to the Gulf Coast of Florida to a beach trip, and we still had the Ace 250 lying around. And so we were like, why not just take it and just see what we could find at the beach? And so I started hunting there at the beach, and then I kind of got sucked into it. I came back from the beach, and I was like, what else could I find on land with this thing? And so then, I started looking at metal detecting. I came across forums, and then when I came across YouTube, I was just like totally hooked. I mean, the YouTube videos, just what people are finding on there, like that really got me into it. And so I started searching with that, and then eventually upgraded to the MineLab E-Track in early 2015, and have been running with that ever since.
Man, that's kind of what got me into metal detecting. Of course, a buddy of mine, he'd let me borrow one of his kids' metal detectors that they'd never really used, and I found my first flat button. And then, of course, I started researching on YouTube all the detecting videos, and I was like, man, this is pretty cool, and that's what got me hooked. I mean, I learned a lot from YouTube.
Hey, Finding America, he put something in the chat that is interesting, and I kind of want to get your guys' opinion on this. He said that they were hunting some curb strips, and that's public property, and a lot of people don't realize that past the sidewalk, if you're in a town past the sidewalk, that curb strip dirt right there is actually public property. And there's a lot of people that don't know that you really have a right to do that. And he said that they had the police called on them, and then when the cop came there, he said there wasn't any problem because it was public property. Have y'all had that occurrence happen to y'all?
No, that's another thing I wanted to talk about, because even though I know that sidewalk or curb strips are usually public property, I usually don't do them because, in my opinion, it takes more guts to do a curb strip than it does a courthouse. Because a lot of people will view the curb strip, even if it's public property, they mow it themselves, and so they'll view it as their, private property. And to me, if someone feels like you're intruding on their private property versus if I'm at a courthouse and someone thinks I'm on public property that I shouldn't be on, then they'll get a lot more defensive if it's private property. And so I actually don't have the guts to do curb strips without permission. I usually ask.
Well, I've done a couple of them.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, I was about to say, I've actually recently done a couple of them. What I normally do is I go up to the houses and knock on them, and if no one answers, I typically do the curb strips. I did that a couple of days ago and found an Indian spill one of them, but typically that's the only way I do them is if I knock on the house and no one answers, and I just go ahead and do them.
Man, that's... Maybe we need to start doing this, Seven. A spill of Indians, I mean.
Yeah, that's...
and you never know what you're going to find. I mean, it could be laying anywhere, so...
Hey, we've got another call in. Chris Heimsoff is on. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, how you doing, Lloyd? I'm doing pretty good. Hey, Zach and Jeff.
How's it going, Chris? I was getting ready to ask your question. Since you're on here, you can go ahead. You can ask him.
Oh, it wasn't me. All I said, I think, was that I'm on the road. But what was the question, and whose was it? Go ahead and ask.
Oh, it was the one you asked on Facebook.
Yeah, it's the one you asked on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, okay. How in the world do you not sweat, son? It can be 105 degrees out there on us. Jeff Ford, every time he'd sit down in the grass, it'd all stick to him. He was soaking wet, and there's Zach just cruising along, dry as a cotton ball.
I don't know. Maybe it's just genetics or something, but that day was just awful. I mean, the heat index was 108. And so you guys were drenched by your own sweat, but I wasn't sweating, so I was just dumping water bottles all over myself, and that helped. But, yeah, I don't know.
See, Lloyd's the same way. He sweats crazy.
Oh, man, I had to take another shirt with me. And before we do our set-downs, on the wrap-up and everything, I'll change shirts, and then I'll look over. I mean, my hair is soaking wet, my shirt, every part of my body is soaking wet, and I look at Jeff, and I don't see any sweat at all. I don't know how they do it, Chris.
I'm the same way. Butch Holcomb talked about having this little fan that he hung around his neck, and I bought one of those, and, man, that really helped, but I try to turn it off and take it off whenever I'm filming because it just doesn't look real cool.
Hey, Chris, hang on there with us for a little bit. We've got another commercial break, and we'll be back in 2. If your passion is metal detecting, then you know how much your success is based on the equipment you use. Let my buddy Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, help you with that. Tim is an authorized dealer of Garrett, XP Deus, Tesoro, and Macro detectors and supplies, and he is now an authorized dealer for MineLab. So, if you're looking to get your hands on the new Equinox 600 or 800, then Tim is your guy. Murray Branch Outdoors is not only competitive in their prices, but the service after the sale is second to none. Tim not only sells detectors, he uses them, and so he can answer any questions you might have. Murray Branch Outdoors also deals in used detectors, and he'll take your old detector in on trade when you decide to upgrade. So give Tim of Murray Branch Outdoors a call at 615-948-4611, and be sure and tell him Relics Radio sent you. And Tim is our good buddy out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. You can give him a call, and he will fix you up. There's one disclaimer I need to put on his commercial there, and probably need to redo the commercial. Tesoro has gone out of business. They closed the doors last week, so that's
no kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
we've got some feedback coming from somewhere.
I think it's wind from Chris there.
Okay.
Well, let me take my headset off here and try this. Hang on a second. Is that any better?
Oh, that's a whole lot better.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole lot better right there.
I thought you was in a hurricane.
Nope, that was my headset. I guess I need to get rid of that thing. It's been on my 30-30 all day long today. Maybe it's shot. Maybe that's why I wasn't finding anything.
It may be getting all that noise and everything. Hey, you got any? Have you got any good stories to tell about Zach and Kyle?
Well, I haven't hunted with Kyle, but with Zach comes from a long line. He's got expert metal detecting in his blood. I've detected with his uncle, Dr. Bob, and Bob's good friend Ray Rash, who also has been detecting for 40, 50, 60 years. I don't know how long. He's not that old, but I've seen those guys have just bag loads of Indian head pennies. And I'd say, now, is that all the Indian heads you found? Well, that was from 2013. My gosh, they'd have a lot of pennies. So Zach's got that in his blood, and my gosh, watching him, and I'm sure you guys have already talked about it. I missed some of it, but you probably already talked about Jeff letting him take that GPX out there and him digging a bullet first thing with it.
No,
we hadn't heard anything about that.
That was fun. Yeah, we hadn't talked about that yet. Yeah, Jeff brought along that GPX when we were hunting that campsite, and he let me try it out. That was my first time using a pulse machine. It was really cool. I think I dug one round ball. I know that, and then I might have dug some camp lead too. But that was really cool.
Yeah, he just walked. He had it. He swung it like, I don't know, a minute, and he starts digging, and he's a round ball.
I just heard one of those like peeps, and I was just going over it, and I was like, "Hey, this sounds like something."
What are your
Really, it's pretty disgusting. Really, I mean, he doesn't sweat, and he can find anything, man.
I hate people like that, don't you? What are your impressions of the GPX, Zach?
I really like it. It's definitely good for sites like that when it's really quiet and there's not a whole lot of targets and you really want to listen for the faint stuff. That was what I got off of it. Definitely, I would have used it more that day, but I kind of wanted to get back to my E-Track so I could kind of go after the silver because I'm so acquainted with the E-Track. I really wanted to just keep using that for then. But I would definitely use the GPX again. It's a great machine.
Yeah.
Jeff said he had an incredible teacher, so.
Yeah.
Shoot, I tell you what, I think Zach might be able to teach Jeff. That kid, Zach knows that E-Track like it was awfully impressive. I was super impressed, Zach. You're something else with that thing, man.
Thank you.
I think he was talking about the GPX, but also, Chris, Jeff said that noise a while ago that he heard, he thought it was that fan around your neck. You can't get nothing past the plug master, I tell you.
Oh, no, he's sharp, man. That's irritating, too.
Yeah, he's sharp as a bowling ball, I tell you. Hey, Zach, what program do you run in your E-Track? I've got an E-Track. A friend of mine has been using it for a couple of years, but what program do you normally use?
So I'm a pretty simple person when it comes to the programming. I just run off the factory settings, and I have it on Auto +3, and anything past that, I don't mess with it. That's just what I run with.
Oh, you're not running two-toned or anything like that?
As far as I know, I'm not. I'm just off the factory settings, and so that I've just been using that, and I'm really acquainted to that.
Are you acquainted? You're acquainted, I know, with that fluty sound that silver gives on that E-Track. Then.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you really
got to go off the sound because I mean the numbers definitely help a lot, but with the E-Track, I mean you can just tell with the sound if it's going to be silver or not. Even to the point if it's like, I mean sometimes the Clyde quarters can fool you, but you can tell if it fluctuates more that if it's going to be silver versus the Clyde quarters. Even though they ring up high in the silver range, it's usually really consistent.
Yeah,
silver just has that squeak to it on the E-Track. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I've heard it described as a fluty sound to it, that silver flute. And, you know it when you hear it. You just can't tell anybody else what it sounds like.
Does the Equinox, does it have that fluty sound?
No. And,
okay, I've yet to find it, so I was wondering if I was doing something wrong.
No, it doesn't have it, and the CTX doesn't have it either, does it, Chris?
No.
That's one thing that everybody was kind of aggravated about when the CTX came out, because most people, like me, I went to a CTX from my E-Track, and I noticed that it didn't have it, and I thought, maybe it was a programming problem, and went to searching on the internet, and everybody was saying, it just doesn't have it. I don't know. It must be something with the processor on the E-Track that they didn't carry over to the CTX or to the Equinox.
I can tell you something about. I'm going to change subject real quick on you for a second, and I got to go, but because I'm driving. But I was going to say one thing that I did appreciate also whenever I was hunting with Zach is he had his drone out there, and you guys have maybe already talked about that too. But that really gives you. I mean, it's going to sound silly and sound pretty basic, but yeah, of course, it's going to give you a whole new perspective on the site that you're hunting. But when that rises up in the air, you can just get such a better image of the lay of the land. Just the terrain. It's just the three-dimensionality or whatever of the terrain. And on a site that I'd been hunting for a long time, he had that drone out there. And whenever it lifted up and I saw in the video, I thought, oh, that's pretty slick. That makes me want to do that. I'd like to get one. But I'm going to have to go and let you guys, I'll listen in on the phone as I'm driving here. But Zach, you're awesome, man. Love your videos. And Kyle, thanks for subscribing too, man. I appreciate it, and I've been watching you too. I'll check you guys out later. See you, fellas.
All right, thanks, man.
See you, Chris.
Thanks for the call, Chris.
I did have one question for y'all. Y'all hunt farm field, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say, Zach and I were planning a trip out to Virginia for the first time, to a town I grew up in Virginia, for the first time, and we've never hunted a farm field or knocked on a old farmhouse. How do y'all approach that? To me, it's vastly different than urban door knocking.
Well, most of the time we know the people. And, that's a whole lot different because we both live in small communities and we know just about everybody. And so we approach it that way. I don't know how hard that it would be, but I do know that Plugmaster Ford, whenever they go to a DIV, they go early and they door knock there in Virginia and they get houses. I mean, they get people to let them do it. So I'm sure that if go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, to me, the hard thing about it seems like is a lot of times the farmhouses will be buried deep in the property, so you kind of got to go deep into their land, almost like trespassing, just to get up to their door. And so it's like a lot more intimidating. And so that's where I thought, do you get a phone number or what do you do?
Well, see, when I first started going to Virginia, I went to Orange County, and me and a good friend of mine, Scott, we went a day or two early, and we door knocked a couple of times, and then we got permission both times to hunt. But yes, they were deep in the farms. But I mean, it's something like most of these roads that you go through in Virginia, like Brandy Rock or whatever, it's a public road, but it goes through the farm, and then you just find a house on that road, and well, can I metal detect on your property? And that one homeowner may own 2,000 acres of this part of the farm, but you may have to go a quarter of a mile, and then the other house, they may own the other 2,000 acres. But I mean, I've door knocked twice and then got permission both times. So.
And I don't think that people are, they're not going to pull out a gun and shoot you because you drive back in a farm to get to the farmhouse. They may think that you're lost or something, and they may be a little apprehensive for a moment, but then whenever you pull up and get out and tell them what you're doing, I mean, it's just like knocking on an urban house. You're going to get a yes or you're going to get a no.
Yeah.
It's just about getting past that first awkward moment of them seeing you drive up on their property, I guess. Because that's another thing, too, that I hate when I'm door knocking is I'll be up at their door knocking, and then you see their car pull up in the driveway, and it's like, oh, this is awkward.
And it's funny, if you take a quarter moonshine to Tennessee or Virginia or Kentucky, and then you give it to the landowner, can I metal detect? They're going to say yes. So.
we disclaimer, we do not do that.
No, we do not do that.
We do not do that. Now, we've been places where they've offered us some moonshine or something. I don't take it now. I can't speak for Jeff. He may. I don't know.
No, I do not. No.
We've got Missouri. We've got Missouri Mike on the line. What's going on tonight, Mike?
Oh, not much. Just sitting here listening to you guys. Just got done hunting today with Jeff, and I had a couple of questions for Zach. One question, Zach, that I got for you is, I see your drone footage that you've got on some of your permissions that you have. Do you ask the people, of course, is it okay to fly the drone, before you hunt, or how do you approach that part of it when you're doing your drone on a house site?
So definitely house sites. I will ask the owner if I can fly the drone there and just let them know kind of what I'm doing. But if it's a public spot, like in the streets here out, I was just in the street, so I just took it off from there, and I wouldn't even know who to ask for that, so I just kind of do it. Same with like courthouses. But yeah, definitely at the houses, I'd ask and let them know.
Have you had any problem with people not wanting you to, or has it pretty much been okay?
Most of the people, if I get as far as getting onto their property and searching it already, usually they're fine with it. I've never had anyone say they don't want me to.
Yeah. I was just curious about that because it's a pretty neat aspect on your video whenever you have the drone, footage on there. And my luck, I'd probably crash it in the house and have to ask for a ladder. Can I get on your house? I crashed my drone in your roof. And I go, oh, you were watching TV, weren't you? I guess the power's out in the house now. Something happened to the wires. Well, my drone's up there hung up in the wires, you know. So I'm not very good caller out of that.
I crashed it once. I crashed mine once, but luckily it was just into the concrete ground and not into any building or something where it got stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know how that window got broke anyway. You know, that was my main question. It's a great show. I just listened to you, and that was one question I had: is if you know you go up and you approach them with the drone, you know, the drone flying along with the permissions at that time. That was my question. So.
Yeah.
Hey,
anyway,
good
that
call,
was my
Mike.
question, so I appreciate it.
Okay.
Y'all have a good night.
Calling, Mike.
Right.
Yeah, appreciate you calling.
Bill Hayes put on there says you need to use the Southern accent when you knock on the door.
That helps. That helps.
Yeah, if anybody's on the chat, it goes on from there. So
I'll tell y'all a good story between the Southern drawl and the Yankee accent that you have. There was a friend of mine. Well, he's actually a relative of my wife, and came from up north down here, and we have what they call the roller coaster. It's about 100-mile yard sale down a stretch of road, and it's all windy and everything. That's why they call it the roller coaster, because it's just up one hill and down the other. But anyway, he stopped at a place here in town, and they had some junk there for sale, you know, and he walked up there and with that Yankee accent, you know, and he said, "How much you want for that vase?" And the guy said, "Oh, the vase." Yeah, he said, you know, and automatically the price jumped up because he didn't say how much you want for the vase, you know. And so it makes a difference. It sure does. And then somebody else up here, I can't remember who it was talking about, you know, it depends on what people are doing when you drive back in their land there. I'll tell you a little short story, and then we'll get back to you, Zach. I drove back in a place, and it was probably about close to a half a mile back to the house back there. Was going to go back there, and I'd found the place on maps and everything, and was going to drive back there to the house and ask permission. Whenever I pulled up, they had a deck out there, and I promise you, the woman of the house was laying out on that deck naked as a jaybird sunning. And so I just turned around and drove off. I never did say a word.
Well, Kyle, that was like the one door you knocked on in Sherman.
Oh, God. No, it was bad.
Tell us about it, Kyle.
Oh, the guy answered the door naked. His thing was just hanging there, and I was like, "Oh God!" And I got his permission, though.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, wrong door.
He gave us permission, though.
But he let us do the house, and I remember I found a teen Merc in that house, in that yard.
Y'all went ahead and detected that house?
Yep.
That wasn't a great silver hoard, was it?
No.
And Denny said, "I'm going to go with Loy from now on. He finds the best places." I don't know about that, Denny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was she, 70?
No, she wasn't 70. There ain't no way. Hey, Zach, there was one question that I was wanting to ask you. I noticed about a year ago you did 100 sub appreciation giveaway. And at last time I looked this afternoon, you've got 7,290 subs. What happened in 1 year to get you that many subs?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I don't really know all of it. What happened, but I think part of it is as I came up to Kansas and Nebraska, I started finding a lot more stuff, and I started putting out a lot more videos for sure. And I also kind of got a little better at knowing how to title my videos and kind of what to say to kind of get people's interest. And that was around the same time I got the drone. I started putting in drone footage, and I'd like to put a lot of passion in my videos and kind of show my perspective of it. And I think that kind of drew a lot of people in.
Well, talk just a little bit about titling a video, because I think that that's a big part of your success.
Oh yeah, it's the biggest part in my opinion is the title. And I make sure that I always have the words metal detecting in it, first of all, so that way it comes up in the videos. But I always put, whether it's like old coins, silver found, treasure, stuff like that. But I keep it accurate. I don't make it clickbait. I'm not one of those people. I don't like clickbait. So I always make sure it's still accurate to what I find. But I definitely title it to make it interesting and something that makes people want to watch it.
And your use of all caps in some of those too, aren't you?
Yeah. Some of them I use all caps, and it just depends. I mean, sometimes I feel like sometimes I don't like using all caps, and then other times I'll do it. But using at least some caps will help. So if you put in like capitalized found or capitalized treasure or capitalized coin or something like that, even if you don't do the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, it's been it's worked for you. There's no doubt about that, because
Yeah, the tags are really important too. You want to make sure you put in like metal detecting, found, treasure, coin, silver, stuff like that in your tags, because there's some people I've talked to that they said they don't put tags in their videos, and that's a big part of getting your video ranked in the system and stuff.
And I've noticed, like, if you put like Civil War bullet, Civil War button, Civil War coin, I mean, you'll get a lot more views that way.
Mm-hmm. And the thumbnail is really big too. You want to make sure you get good lighting on it. And if you don't get good lighting in the actual picture, go into your computer and edit the thumbnail and make it brighter, make the colors pop out more, make the shadows look better. And that will definitely help, because people will click on it if they see it's like, if it's a more appealing thumbnail.
It's kind of eye candy, isn't it? Hey guys,
kind of what?
It's kind of eye candy. I mean, you're drawing them in with the picture that you have as whatever you called it there, I forgot. Hey, we've got Denny Morrison on the line, but we need to take a quick break right here for American Digger Magazine. We'll be right back. If you want to keep up with what's going on in the metal detecting world, then you need to be a subscriber to American Digger Magazine. Butch and Anita Holcomb are the publishers of the magazine and have won awards for 3 straight years for being the best digger magazine on the market. American Digger Magazine is available in both print and digital formats, so no matter where you live in the world, you can enjoy the latest happenings in the hobby. You can get in touch with American Digger Magazine by going to americandigger.com or give them a call at 770-362-8671, and be sure and tell them that you heard it on Relics Radio. And while we're talking about American Digger Magazine, I want to put another plug in. In the January-February issue of American Digger Magazine, my article with Jeff Ford, Wes Stringer, and Chris Heimsoff, The Great Silver Hoard, will come out. And I'll make one comment before we get to Denny and then back to Zach. And our good buddy Dave Miller from over at Oak Ridge, Tennessee is in tonight. And he said, Loy, you can get 700 new subs on one video. Just call it, I Found a Nude Neighbor Today.
That would work.
What's going on tonight, Denny?
Well, I got a question for Zach. I'm ashamed to say I don't think I've viewed one of yours. Do you have a nickname you go by?
He's
like just in general or for the channel?
For the
channel. For your channel.
Not
Zach,
really.
huh?
I mean, if people ask what it is, just Zach.
It's
down south digging.
Yeah, it's down south detecting.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe Jeff or
somebody. A lot of people
will
will get confused because even though my name is Down South Detecting and they see my videos of Nebraska, they're like, "Why is your channel called that?" But I started the channel in Texas, and if I change my name, everyone knows me by that now, and so I kind of felt like I had to keep it that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question for you, Zach. What kind of editor do you use to edit your videos, and can you make them brighter or sharper or anything?
So I use iMovie on my MacBook, and that works really well for just putting the clips together in general. But as for editing pictures and stuff for thumbnails, I just use the software that they have on the Mac itself. like on the preview that you pull up. And it has all the different tools for like brightness and contrast and stuff like that.
Well, it's poor guys that just have a stupid Windows machine. What would you recommend? Or you probably wouldn't. You don't know.
I tell you what I use. I use Photoshop. Photoshop's Essentials. It's not that high, and you can pull up and do anything you want to with a photograph. I mean, you can brighten it up, change the contrast. You can do. I mean, there's just hundreds of things that you can do with it. But what about videos? That's what I'm wondering. Because when you do a YouTube or a Facebook video, you can put like half hour on there. If you try to do pictures, you're limited to 10 pictures or 20 pictures. That's it. Even if you downsize each picture, which I've done. I mean, I've done videos on my YouTube videos, and you're only allowed so many of you just do pictures. And just a picture video for me, it takes me almost 2 days to make it because you have to downsize every darn picture to put it on YouTube. So, but if you run a video, I found you can run all you want. They love videos, but they hate pictures. Yeah.
What operating system are you using?
Windows 10, which, to tell you the truth, in a French word, it sucks.
Well, I use Windows 10, and I don't have a problem with it. I love it. I never have been a Mac man. I had a Mac for a while, and just really didn't like it. But I use Power Director 15 for my video editing stuff. But Zach, you're using all Apple stuff, aren't you?
Yep. I've always used iMovie, and to me it just works really well because the interface is really simple. If you're not like computer savvy or anything, it's still really easy to put together really good quality videos.
Well, it's working for you, I tell you. But, it really doesn't matter what somebody uses as long as you get to the final product there. And have you got kind of like templates set up to where your videos will kind of have a common theme to them or something?
Yeah. So I usually always start out with the opening picture of a main street of an old town in Texas, and it says Down South Detecting. And then after that, I usually transfer into the drone footage, and I usually put that right at the beginning of the video along with like different music. And I put different songs in my videos each time. I like to change it up. And then after that, it follows into the regular footage. And I never do wrap-ups at the end of my videos. I just put like a picture of all the finds together with music.
Now, there's a question for you, Zach. You use music. Is that music that iMovie has on there that you're allowed to use, or do you credit somebody by using their music?
So pretty much all the music I use, it's either on iMovie or it's off of the YouTube website has like a list of free music that you can use. And you don't even have to credit anybody for it or anything. And then there's sometimes I will use music off iTunes too. And if you do that, it won't let you monetize the video, but you can still put that music in.
Yeah, I found it. In fact, it'll come back even if I put in I use a lot of Civil War songs, and they'll come back and say you can't use that without paying that person a residual. So I'm just asking that. I've seen that happen.
Denny, I tried to use Johnny Reb, and then they done it to me one time.
Oh yeah, it just depends on where
usually the big people
from.
too, especially.
And like
anytime I use anytime I use like Willie Nelson music or anybody like that that's big, then it won't let me monetize the video, but it'll still let me use the song.
Huh. I'm surprised.
Well, see, some of your earlier Texas videos that I watched, I love the songs on the beginning of it, and it was kind of the
the old Johnny
song.
Cash tunes.
Yeah.
I remember you using those on there, but like Zach said, if you go to all you had to do is just get on your browser and type in YouTube songs. And you can pull that up, and it will show you that some of them are free to use. Some of them you have to give credit on. But And
well, I've learned something. So I mean, that's.
I've always give credits to whatever song I'm playing, but sometimes they don't like that either. So, but I have to say, a lot of my videos were from like 10 years ago, and boy, have they improved now. With YouTube has their own songs now, which I like. But when I first started out, it was just hit or miss. I just used what I had here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, you can get those free ones like that, and it's not a problem.
What's really funny is if you go on the internet and look up Civil War songs, you get all these weirdo Civil War songs that aren't even Civil War songs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I've tried looking up some Civil War songs before, and it will come up with like these odd ones, and I'm like, I'm trying to look for this specific one, and I can't find it. And even if you can't really download it.
No, I agree. So, just a couple questions I had there. I thought it was interesting because I'm always wanting to improve. I mean, even at 71 years old, I'm still wanting to improve.
Hey,
got to keep the brain active.
That's the way that you do. Keep it. Yeah, just keep changing with the times. That's what you have to do. Hey, Zach, there was a question that I had for you. Do you have different coils for your E-Track, or are you just using your stock 11-inch coil? Or, I think that's what it is, isn't it?
I actually do have two coils now. For the longest time, I just ran with the stock coil, and that did me great. But at the beginning of this year, I bought the D-Tech 13-inch Ultimate coil, and I absolutely love that now. It's given me a couple extra inches of depth. But unfortunately, like within the last month, the coil actually stopped working. Like, I don't know what happened with it, but I actually need to contact them and get it replaced. So I'm back to the stock now, but those are the coils I use.
Zach, I don't know if you can get it or not, but if you can find an NEL coil that will fit that baby, I'm telling you, those things smoke, and they're very lightweight.
And our dealer,
that would be nice.
Our dealer that we work with, Tim Henderson, Murray Branch Outdoors, he sells those D-Tech coils, and he sells those nail coils, the NELs. And
right.
He can get you those for the E-Track or the AT Pro or whatever that you've got. And they're using that 13-inch D-Tech on their AT Pros, and they swear by the separation on those. Have you found that with the D-Tech, that when you used it on the E-Track, that you were still able to get real good separation?
Oh, yeah. I got great separation on it, so it didn't seem to affect it too much. But it definitely does weigh a little bit more. And so when it broke and I started using the stock again, I was like, what is this thing? It feels so tiny. It was like so light.
Well, on mine, I've got the 5x8 butterfly coil, and that's what the guy that's hunting with mine, that's all he uses on it. And then I got a little hockey puck coil with it as well, and that's real good in those real trashy homesite areas. Of course, y'all mainly hunt yards and courthouses and things, and so you're not up against some of the same, situations that me and Jeff are when you get into just tons and tons and tons of square nails and you're trying to pick those targets out. A lot of times those small coils, of course, you do lose depth, but the separation is great on those.
Do you use,
yeah.
Have you ever used a Deus down there, Loy?
No, Will Johnson has come down with a Deus and hunted with us, and we had a video where we compared the Deus and the AT Pro and the Equinox, and neither one of us could keep up with the Equinox on signals down here in those nail-infested areas. I mean, I hate to say that because I get a lot of hate mail. I got a lot of hate comments, on the video. But, somebody would say, well, if he'd changed this on the XP Deus, then he could have heard it. But who's going to completely change their whole detector as they're swinging? You set it up to where you're comfortable using it and you want to find the target.
Well, and that test wasn't meant to happen. It just, just happened. We were just out relic hunting just like anybody else. And then I mean, it happened. So, I mean, it was just a little bitty piece of brass that was probably about 6 or 7 inches deep, and it could have been a little button, or it could have been
a cut real. I mean,
yeah.
I had a cut real come in at 35 on the AT Pro, so it could have been anything, like that.
I found
the
it the other day when I was using my Equinox. I was in field first, and I got a funny signal, and I thought, I wonder what that is, and I flipped it over into field. It was like night and day, Loy. I don't know if you use field, but you might try it. It sounds nice. It's the way I like to hear metal detector sound.
That's what I'm using right now is field. And
yeah, I love it.
What were you fixing to say, Zach?
Oh, I was going to say, not to change the subject real quick, but I noticed in the comments, Gary Heckman had a question. He said, what drone do I have? I use the Phantom 3 Standard. It's by DJI.
And those are good, really, really good drones, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. If you're going to buy a drone, you want to go to DJI. I mean, they're like the Apple of drones. And the one that I have, it's for a really good price. It's a really good machine. I mean, it's no toy. It's a real flying machine.
What is the one Heath has? Do you know?
I think it's a DJI, and he's just started on that. Here's one thing about drones. I've seen people that were really, really good detectorists and really putting out good videos and everything, and then they got a drone, and then all of a sudden they're not putting out any metal detecting videos anymore. They're messing with their drone all the time, How do you discipline?
Yeah, like
go ahead. Dr. Tones is one of them.
Oh, I was just gonna. Yeah, like Dr. Tones. Man, Dr. Tones was one of the first people I ever saw on YouTube, and I loved his old videos. And then he just doesn't post much anymore.
No, he got a drone, and then that's the first person that I noticed was him, and he just completely changed, and wasn't putting out videos and everything. How do you discipline yourself to get to the task at hand to go ahead and detect and put the drone up?
Well, I definitely, I always detect a spot first because I don't want to waste flying the drone up there, wasting, footage space on my card only to not find anything at the spot. So I always hunt a spot first, and then if it turns out good, then I'll bring the drone back there and I'll, fly it.
And I don't know if Gary missed that a while ago, but he said, what DJI do you have? You might mention it again.
It's the Phantom 3 Standard.
Phantom 3 Standard. Okay. So you look at a place or detect a place, and if you're successful, then you do your drone footage.
Yeah, that's how I like to do it, just so I don't waste time or camera space.
I tell you what me and Jeff did. We let Tim Henderson fly a drone for us. He's got a drone, and he came to the infantry camp that we hunted one time, made a great video, but he didn't get much detecting done that day, which I hate it for him, but he had a good time flying the drone. But I just don't think I could discipline myself to do both, fly a drone and detect also.
See, if we had a drone that had a ground penetrating radar.
Oh, don't go there,
oh my
Jeff.
Gosh.
Don't go there, Jeff. There was a show that they claimed that they had a drone that
oh yeah, I remember that show.
Yeah, that had ground penetrating radar, and it would see what was it? 100 foot into the ground,
yeah,
or something
like that. Yeah,
I'd have to see that to believe it. In fact, I'd have to see a drone that could carry a ground penetrating radar to start with. I mean, that's
right.
That's military grade, isn't it?
It sure would be. So, I know the one Tim had. It was a pretty big drone, and then of course the bad thing, he went through and he filmed, he said some of the best footage he had, and then he come back and they wasn't recording.
Yeah. Hey, Zach,
that's happened to me a couple times.
Yeah, and on your footage, are you running 1080 on that?
Yeah, it's just 1080. If you get the higher end machines like the Phantom 4 or some ones like those, they have 4K. But the one I have, it's just 1080p.
Well, let me tell you something about 4K. You don't need 4K. All you need is 1080. because I think Tim shot in 4K, and we sat there for 20 minutes, him downloading the drone footage so I could bring it back to Kentucky and include it in the video, and then I had to downsize it down to 1080. So, I mean, if you're...
I totally agree. 1080 is great. I mean, you don't need the 4K. I mean, it comes out great without it.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable how stable that the camera is on those, isn't it?
Oh yeah, they put a lot of work into figuring out how to make that gimbal design work for that. But it's really sophisticated. It's got this whole thing that like hoists the camera, and it will adjust while it shakes in the air and everything.
How long of air time do you have on those cameras?
Like how much recording space on the camera, or how much?
No, how long will it last on the battery?
Flying, I think is what he means.
It'll usually last, at least mine is like 20 to 25 minutes, and I'm usually never even flying that long anyways. It'll only take me like 6-7 minutes to get, a normal amount of footage in. So it's pretty good battery life.
How about on the camera itself? How's the battery life?
The camera is actually powered by the drone battery too, so it runs on the same thing.
Okay, cool.
And it's probably got a gigabyte or more of space on the camera?
Yeah, so what you do is you just put in micro SD cards into the camera, so you can choose how much space you have, just depending on what card you buy.
And if you're shooting 1080, you can probably shoot way yonder more than the battery will keep the drone up.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I have a 32 gigabyte card in it, and I could shoot for hours on it if I wanted to.
Oh, pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I use whenever when I save all of my clips. I'm putting them on a regular SD card, and I use 32 gig on those, and I can run 4 months probably of stuff, and I do a video every week and save everything, and then save my final video and everything with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Zach, what do y'all got planned now that the weather's changed and everything? Does that change your hunting?
Well, pretty soon it's going to ruin my hunting because winter seems to be coming fast out here in Nebraska. Right now, I mean, it's not affecting anything really. I'm still just working on that street tear out, and then I've got a couple other towns along the Kansas border I want to check out here pretty soon. But I'm definitely going to enjoy this next month while I can before it gets too cold.
Well, what do you do when it gets cold like that? Do you move your hunting south?
Pretty much I just go until the ground gets frozen. I usually won't drive. I'll drive like 2 to 3 hours max to get to a spot. So if all of the radius around me, in that 3 hour radius is frozen, I'm just out of luck, I guess.
That's one good thing we don't have to worry about down here is the ground freezing. I maybe hunted one time with the ground froze, but
see, it was funny because when I was in Texas, the ground would be too dry in the summer, whereas like the summer was when you couldn't dig in Texas, and then I come up here and now I'm dealing with frozen ground, and so it's just.
Where are you at now, Zach?
I go to college in Nebraska, but I live in Kansas City now.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if you ever do any of the wagon train trails.
Oh, I would love to. That takes so much research, and I've been so busy hitting other spots. I've never sat down to try and get onto one of those, but I would love to.
Well, you were talking earlier about the Oregon Trail, and have you done some of that?
No, I've never gotten to hit a trail site before. I know my friend Garrett. He's got a channel called Swing in the Free State. He lives down there here in the Kansas City area. He goes to college in Emporia, and he hits a lot of Santa Fe trail sites out there. And it's a lot of work. A lot of the ones he's hit before, from what he's told me, he doesn't find much. But the second you get onto something, one of those actual good sites, I mean, it could just be loaded.
Yeah. That would be. There's a lot of history there. I mean, there was a lot of people that traveled all of that.
And do you know? Well, the gold ring I found actually, Christian Beck, his father went through the Oregon Trail, and then of course, he was out in Kansas City, his father was, and then got poisoned by some trout. Ate some bad trout and then passed away in Kansas. So, I mean, it's
small.
Of course, he started building guns in the 1700s, and you never know what you may find some Beck gun out that way.
That's true. May do it. Hey guys, before we get off tonight, I want you to tell everybody your YouTube channels, your Facebook channels, and everything. Zach and Kyle both.
So the YouTube channel, it's Down South Detecting. It's a space between all the words. That's on YouTube. And then, Kyle, you can tell them the Instagram.
Oh, our Instagram is at Down South Detecting as well. I think Zach might link it in some of his videos, but if not, he'll start doing that here shortly, and you can click on the link to it in his videos.
Yeah, and that's about all the social media we have. I just run the YouTube, and then Kyle will post a lot on the Instagram.
Are y'all doing anything on Facebook?
I have my personal account on Facebook, and I'll post stuff in the clubs like the Plug Masters group, but it's nothing for my channel.
Well,
I was actually thinking we should start a channel Facebook group.
I tell you what, we started a Facebook group channel, Relics Radio. And I don't know, it's really took off. I mean, we're up over 350 now. And I was going to tell you guys, be sure and come over to the Relics Radio Facebook group page. And if you're not a member, become a member and then post your finds on there. That's what it's there for.
Alrighty.
And we put that in the link on this show, and we put it in the link on our videos too as well. So
yeah, I just joined that group within the last week, and then I saw Ray join that group too.
Ray who?
Raymond Rash.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember putting him on where he came in. Yeah, we've done well here over the past few weeks, and in fact, there's some days where we have upward of 10 people joining a day. So spread the word and be sure and come over there and post all of your finds and everything. And hey guys, I know he's got 7,290 subs, but give him a few more. I mean, go over and sub Down South Detecting. And Kyle, do you have a different YouTube channel, or y'all just you collaborate on this one channel?
I have my own channel. I don't post much on my channel just because a lot of the footage I take here in Texas, I actually do send to Zach. Like today, I filmed 12 silver coins, but I didn't film any of it. I enjoy myself more if I'm not filming. I know it sounds kind of silly, but one of the questions I have for y'all as viewers of Zach's channel, I'm very much a part of it. Like, I'm very interested in his channel, and he talks to me about everything that's going on behind the scenes. But as viewers of his channel, like, what would y'all like to see in his future videos to make it more enjoyable?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. Everybody wants to see your face. Most of us don't like to show it that much, but everybody wants to see it. And Plugmaster Ford has said that over and over again. That's how people relate to you. So in every video, you need to at least show your face, Kyle's face, anybody that you're hunting with. Now, it's easy for me to show Jeff's face because I'm doing the filming, and showing stuff like that. But I have to make myself do that with myself. And also, I think another thing that we're trying to start to do is having different camera angles and stuff. I think that lends a little bit of interest, I'm trying to use the GoPro a little bit more now. And, there's just all kind of things that you can do.
Yeah, that's definitely a big point. Jeff was talking to me about that too. And so I've been trying to show my face more in the videos, even if it's not for like the whole video, just in, an intro at the beginning or something.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I've done. I've got my intro where I have a talking clip at the front of it and then at the end of it. And that's when you see me. But I've started in the field over the past week or so, start to use the GoPro a little bit and show myself detecting, and you can run some music and have a little bit of clip. I think the more that you can break it up, because I found that so much of my video footage is just showing the hole, showing the find, showing that. I don't know that people really, I guess they like the live dig. We don't do a whole lot of them because you get cursed a whole lot on live digs, don't you?
You do. You sure do. Every live dig we've done, I mean, it's pretty much turned out to be something, a pull tab or something like that.
Yep. Every breastplate turns into aluminum can.
I think definitely people just want to see that something extra in the video, because if you're just like everyone else and you just post, here's the find and here's, the hole, I already dug it, and you're not showing anything else, I think people are going to lose interest pretty quick. But if you do something unique, so like me, I use, different music in all my videos with the drone footage. I think a lot of people like that. Showing my face would definitely help a lot more. But all the big channels, they all have something unique, or they have some sort of, group banter that they have, or there's all these different things that bring something special to a channel. I think that's what people look for.
Yeah, and the camaraderie that you have, the chemistry that you have with whoever you hunt with. Me and Jeff, all this summer, I mean, we've not got to hunt together very much, but me and Jeff have real good chemistry together, and I can tell that when we do a video together, and as the fall comes along and winter, and we get to hunt several hours in a day and do videos together, that we'll get a lot more views on that. And then we've added a feature this year, our history clips that we put in. That's kind of a niche that I've tried to get into, and it's going over really well. I mean, people like it. I don't have 7,000 subs yet, but still trying to climb up that way.
Hey, you're working on it, Lloyd.
Yeah, I'm working on it. And but
the history clips, everyone learns something. Even you, even me. I mean, you do real.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, he does a great job on history clips.
And the most amazing thing is that you think you're going to run out of those. I mean, I consciously think, what in the world am I going to do a history clip on this next week? And you always, it seems like you find something, and I'm a couple of videos ahead. And to tell you the truth, whenever I started out on the hunts, I thought, there's nothing to do a history clip on. But I've got a couple of them that are in the can right now that are real interesting history clips. And you can turn a nothing video. I mean, there's a lot of times that we go out and hunt and we don't find anything, that you would want to write home about. And the history clip will kind of bail you out on that,
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Lloyd? One time at DIV digging in Virginia, a fella came up to me. This is my early years of videos, and I always put Civil War music in there. And he said his mother watches every one of my videos, and she loves the music.
Well, yeah, music.
When you first make videos, and on my early days, you just made a video and no music. It just wasn't anything. But once you put music to it, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and
yeah, for sure.
And Kyle asked the question, just be yourself. A lot of people try to imitate somebody else, but there's a whole bunch of that out there. Just be yourself and try new things, and we'll watch you and we'll copy. We'll follow your lead. But hey, guys, we really do appreciate you coming on the show tonight. You've been a great guest, Zach, and you've been a great guest with us there tonight, Kyle. And we just wish you all the best, and look forward to seeing what the future holds for all you young guys. I'd give anything in the world to be that young again and know what I know right now. But
me too.
yeah, and Denny knows what that's like. But you guys are doing it right, and you're a testament to the hobby, and we appreciate that. I know that that you're godly people, and we need more of that in the world as well.
Yes, we do.
But we appreciate you being on, and Jeff, you got any parting words?
Just thank for everybody in the chat, and then everybody in Virginia, be safe tonight. Of course, I know the storms are still coming through. I've seen Matt. He said that it was getting rough outside, and I hadn't seen him on the chat here lately. So, but let's hope he's safe, and all of our friends for Virginia is safe. So.
Yeah. And if you guys will stay on the line for a little bit, I'm going to close the show out, and I'll talk to you thereafter. And we do appreciate everybody being on Relics Radio tonight. If you like podcasts like this, be sure and check out Beyond Sight and Sound every Sunday night and Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then on Monday night at 9 o'clock, you can check out American Digger Relic Roundup. All Metal Mode is on Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. History Seekers is on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, and Hardcore Metal Detecting is Thursday night and Saturday night at 8 o'clock. And then, obviously, Relics Radio is on every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. And we certainly do appreciate you joining us tonight, and we'll see you next Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Relics Radio. We really do appreciate it. Be sure and join us live each Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern here on Spreaker. Or you can catch the archive show at Relics Radio on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, or iTunes. Please take a minute and hit the like button, and be sure and follow us so that you'll get notifications of all of our upcoming broadcasts. You can also find us on YouTube at Digging with Seven or Tennessee Jeff, or you can check us out on our Relics Radio Facebook page. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then send an email to diggingwith7@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We hope you'll join us next Thursday night, and until then, get out there and dig some history.